votes. And so I don't understand what they're celebrating. Now they're helped along by some of the people in the media, like Stabrook News and the Gordon Mosley and the others. Oh, APNU staved off the PPP in Georgetown. So we staved off the PPP. So we're supposed to win 100%. And APNU barely scraped through with 13 and staved us off in their stronghold. And that's definition of victory. Instead of looking at the other way around, that the PPP increased its vote by 5,000, nearly 78, but nearly 80% in the city, and APNU vote remained below 2018 level. APNU staved it off. Oh, they saved the city. I can't imagine how you'd celebrate that you manage in your own base that the other party didn't win in your base, so that's a victory. It is pure nonsense. And this talk about resources and all, but resources and the outcome of elections linked to resources. In 2018, they spent 10 times what we spent, public money. And the outcome wasn't that favorable to them, even in 2018. It's worse now. So this is what I see. It's, you gotta be a special breed, or totally biased like some of the media houses are, to portray this as anything but a massive defeat for APNU. Massive on any parameter that you choose to measure this. But they are celebrating this. That's why I'm saying it's a strange breed that we're dealing with. I can't understand how they work, but something is not connecting in their brain. They have motorcades to celebrate the victory. Sharma Solomon and the others, like today I saw them trying to intervene even in Linden in a private, blaming the government because a woman who was had some land from Nisil leased the land or something to the other guy was there. The court gave her permission to remove the other man. Private dispute. Government had nothing to do with this. They're saying the government, look, the government is throwing the guy off the land. Sharma Solomon, the vulture he is, turned up there. They're celebrating that in Linden, how they did a great job. Our votes moved from 402 to 4,400 odd. 2,000 more people in Linden, Afro-Guyanese voted. And I think that is the problem with them. People like Stabrook News and the others, and Gordon Mosley, and many of the others who were saying people are bribed to vote for you, bribed to wear the t-shirt and stuff. They can't reconcile in their head that you had this massive number of people who voted PPP in South Georgetown, in every constituency. Sophia, Tocqueville, East and West Rumbelt, South Rumbelt, in Kitty Campbellville, a Kingston constituency, everywhere we increase our votes. So it is they have a hard time. And so they resort to these outlandish rumors. Outlandish rumors. They started off with, oh, we already start terminating the part-time workers. We plan not to terminate any part-time worker, but to increase the numbers that we've hired, because we've had a greater demand for it. So they're telling people in Linden, as soon as the elections are over, they will terminate your part-time job. Well, the people will see now, see the lies that they were told. They started, oh, the people will terminate your contract if you have it. You had a drainage contract. Another lie. They told the vendors another set of lie. The biggest lie was about, we want in the city to take people private property and sell it to rich people. They imagine a Christopher Jones and the PNC saying that. They've sold out practically every bit of land in the city. Christopher Jones pushed a black family off their land that he got from Lands and Survey through corrupt transaction. And then he got a grant from the government of Guyana to build a barber shop. He never built it. So maybe about $6 million. He is the one saying, people getting a small business grant, and we haven't even given that out around the country as yet. So only a few people got that. And he's saying, oh, the people are bribed. And he got a $6 million grant. So this is the sort of thing, the lies that they're told. I saw he was getting hot under the collar when I exposed him. Imagine he said to shift attention away from the massive defeat, they had to come up with these gimmicks. So running down the road, waving a couple of things on a three bus loads of people driving through up and down the road, saying it's a motorcade. And nobody paying attention to them. You should look at people, just be dismissive of them, because they know it's a sham, it's pantomime, it's a show. But then he came up with a very brilliant excuse, right? That the PPP had planned elections for December 18, 2023. If they had won, that's general and regional elections, if we had won Georgetown and Linden. And not Georgetown and New Amsterdam. And so they basically staved off general elections because they held back the PPP from winning these two areas. They succeeded in stopping the PPP. Now, any sensible person would know that they should want general elections earlier because they have another 2.5 years to wait. General elections would be held somewhere in November 2025 because that's the constitutional date that would allow us to hold it up to then. They have a full 2.5 years to wait, nearly half of the term, because we're taking back the 5 months that were lost due to their rigged elections when Granger stayed on illegally for 5 months as president. So we're taking back that, and it will go the full term. So they have a 2.5 years wait. But why would any right-thinking, sensible president, and Irfan Ali is a sensible man, he has term limits. He only has 2 terms to run. So he has maximum 10 years as president. He will hold the elections now 2.5 years ahead of schedule. So and take away 2.5 years, a full 1/4 of his 10 years. It makes no sense that you would hold a snap election now because you lose a significant part of your term. But more importantly, he said, I pointed out that even in the no confidence motion, people in the party, the leadership of the party knew the last day because these things are kept very tight about holding elections and those issues. You think I would have told Christopher Jones? So he said it was a leak from the party. Well, I have a leak from APNU too, that Christopher Jones was trying to get a lot of the money in there, since he's quoting leaks from the PPP that told him that. It's a lie. But I can be as outrageous to say people told me that Christopher Jones has cleaned out the treasury from APNU, and that insiders said that it was a leak from his party. It's outrageous. I'm making fun of the thing, basically. It's so stupid an excuse as to why they're claiming victory. Oh, they stopped the PPP in Georgetown and they stopped the PPP in New Amsterdam and Linden. Look, I've never heard anything like this. That's why I'm saying this group of people that we have here are not in their right sense. I can't imagine how they would ever run a country if, heavens forbid, they ever get a chance to.
Dr. Jagdeo, sometimes these things are small and seen as irrelevant, but leader of the AFC, Kemraj Ramjatan, was not heard or seen before the elections. He has since arisen and in a local group where a lot of politicians and so are in Guyana Forum, is spreading misinformation. Recently, There was a document relating to the oil and gas was put in the forum, and he tried to present himself as someone to give an explanation. It caused quite a bit of confusion among the professionals. I don't know if it was brought to your attention, but it's sad how politicians are totally unaware of what is going on and the context in which they should be speaking.
This was brought to my attention. So a lot of them have resurfaced. Cathy Hughes has resurfaced now with her pontification about, the PPP lost massively. The same alternate universe. You saw Simona Broom in panic when the results, I spoke about the results, not now putting out his preliminary. It's preliminary, right? But you were saying preliminary all the time. And then Roysdale Ford surfaced. And Ramjatan, who had been quietly urging people to vote APNU, he didn't come out and after having said AFC is not going to contest the elections, been quietly urging his people to vote for APNU. He is resurfaced now. But someone brought this to my attention, that he was in some group, a WhatsApp group, and I think they sent me a screenshot of it. So I'll deal with that at a press conference tomorrow, because I'm doing a government press conference tomorrow, and I want to show how much of a sad state the opposition is in. And for any sensible person out there to understand this, would understand that if they ever have a chance of winning power, there's no future for this country. So Ramjatan posted in the group the bill that we just put out on Monday for public consultation. It's called the Petroleum Activities Bill. It's replacing a bill from 1986 that was passed in 1986 called the Petroleum Act of Guyana. Now, as part of in the context of upgrading our total framework for modernizing it, for managing the oil and gas sector, we decided to do this, to upgrade all the laws. This was a promise we made in election. So Ramjatan posted it, and someone said, what are you all the, you were saying something about, the time is too short, 2 weeks, too short. I can read that bill in 20 minutes, read the bill in 20 minutes, maybe say maximum an hour, and carefully assimilate the content of the bill. He's a lawyer. But 2 weeks not enough for them to share comments on this. But the same thing they said on the PSA and every other bill, because they don't have views. They never had views in government. That's why they made a mess of the contract with Ramjatan and Trotman and all of them. And now here again. So he said, he said the time is too short, and people were dismissive of him in the group. And then he said something which was very strange. Why don't they just put in, we had 2%, why don't they just put in a 5% or a 10% on the royalty? And then I understood something, that this man is full-fledged crazy. For a lawyer to say that, he and a leader of a party, to make that comment meant that he didn't understand anything about the bill or anything about the sector. That bill had nothing to do with the PSA, the Production Sharing Agreement, where the royalty is, we already went to public consultation, we got views from the public, and we settled it. And we announced to the country that the royalty will move from 2 to 10%, the taxes from 0 to 10%, corporate tax, will limit the cost recovery to 65%, down from 75%, and small blocks, so they'll need to ring fence. We announced this several times at 100 press conferences. He thinks that we should put that in this bill. It had nothing to do, this is the different sort of bill. He didn't understand the difference between the PSA and the Petroleum Activities Bill, which are two separate things. One is to regulate the sector, and the other is an agreement. How could a lawyer and a leader of a party, and his party had responsibility for oil and gas through Trotman, not even know that in this day and age? It is this sort of thing that we in the PPP, we have to contend with on the other side. It's a lot of bluff, a lot of talk, a lot of pretense, and when the hard work comes, just to sit down for 1 hour and just read the bill and try to understand it, they wouldn't do that. Too lazy to even read the material. And these are parliamentarians. What do they expect from other people? And they mislead. They speak with such assurance about the bill, with such confidence that people actually believe the garbage that they sprout. So it is very, very hard to tackle and have a proper technical engagement that would lead to an improvement in any legislation or policy with people like Ramjatan. Glenn Lally is the other one. He knows absolutely nothing about anything to do with the oil and gas sector. But when he speaks, you would think that he is the czar of everything. He knows everything from gas and what we should do. And he can't even read a financial statement.
Dr. Jagdeo, you have alluded to the fact that Ramjatan was quietly asking his supporters to vote APNU. Do you think, as a result of that, and basically I'm asking for what evidence do you have of that, and do you think as a result of that action, pitted against the fact that they have had small parties, the Mudwater Party has won a seat in some constituency, somewhere, and the AFC was incapable of coming and representing themselves.
Yeah.
Do you think the AFC is being absorbed into the PNC?
A long time ago that happened. A long time ago that happened. Ramjatan, in my view, takes instructions from Congress Place. He has no mind of his own. He pretends to have an independent position, but they take instructions from Congress Place. And they were even worse, I believe the AFC turned out to be even more corrupt than APNU. If you look at the scandals associated with the ministers, and we have a long list of them, and today I'm not going to go through all of these. But if you look at the list of people who were embroiled in some scandal in their period, almost every AFC minister, we choose not to address these things today, but I can tell you about it. Ramjatan still has to answer about his liberal giving out of the gun licenses and what took place in that period, all the rumors that flew. A number of people came to me and said to me they had to pay people to get their gun licenses, and large sums of money. There were fixed fees. We heard about that. I told you about Cathy Hughes giving contracts to herself in the ministry. Trotman was embroiled in controversy. Patterson, through that project that he's charged for now. Almost every single one of the AFC leaders. And so they remember in the 2015, they were the conscience of the country. They were the clean people. They had all the answers for Guyana on development side. They were just as hopeless as many, and even more so than many in the PNC. But they all didn't have any plan. You recall the famous plans that they had, nothing happening, taxing people, collecting more money, doing pepper sauce and plantain chips. And well, I'm not going to criticize breadfruit chips. I never do that. I love breadfruit chips. So I'm not criticizing the breadfruit plan that they had, but really nothing. That's what you heard from them. So Ramjatan has always been there. He's a first-rated psychopath. He earns distinction in being psychophantic. He has no mind of his own. And he's very vile. He goes, and that's why he's slinking around now, he's campaigning in these WhatsApp groups now, posting the little bill and then trying to sound erudite. And thankfully in these groups you have smart people who can put him in his place. People who have actually read like the law that we put out for public consultation.
Dr. Jagdeo, yesterday, today there have been protests in front of the office of the president here, and by extension your office, which is here also, as it relates to Minister Dharamlal being charged, and the opposition is calling for his resignation. These are damning allegations. Where and what is the government's position on this?
Yes, so we should never second guess the president of the country. He speaks for the government. And I can echo, because I'm General Secretary of the PPP, I can echo the sentiments he expressed right at the beginning when the allegations surfaced in the social media, and then he was asked by the media about it. And he said one thing: we have no tolerance for any abuse of women or children in our midst. Secondly, that there must be a full investigation of the allegations, and if the minister is found guilty, he faces all the consequences associated with the charge and the court imposed situation. So those are two things that are prevailing. The law that was that's being used with a paper committal now was passed in 2010 when I was president of this country, the Sexual Offences Act. It was one of the most advanced pieces of legislation at that time anywhere in the region or the world. And so we are intolerant to anybody harassing women, or more so children, molesting children. We take a strong view on that matter. We also believe that people must not be tried in the social media. And what has happened now, or this is not a political matter. This is an allegation was made. It was fully investigated. The minister was charged, and he now faces the consequences of that.
Well, not charged as yet.
Well, yes. Well, he was arrested. Yes. Presented with the allegation. He received bail. That's what I meant. He received bail. Investigations are continuing. We allowed the process to continue. Process is important. The state lived up to its responsibility to this child. It took the child into custody. All of the processes associated with the law has been followed. The process associated with the minister, too, he was presented with the allegations. He was placed on bail. He was taken into police custody, and he was placed on bail. We have to allow that to happen. The minister went on leave, so he's not in the job. That doesn't often happen in countries like ours. It didn't happen in the past too. And I dare say if it was APNU, it wouldn't have happened. We allowed the process to work. So APNU opportunistically has jumped on this issue, making it a political issue now. So, and I think they did this, they're not helping any of the cause, not the victim cause, the complainant cause. They are trying to prove a political point. It's a distraction from their massive loss. This is the only time they're so united. Couldn't be united around anything. It's a distraction from their massive loss. We just came out of a campaign where you had allegations about a pedophile and I mentioned it, in one of the constituencies in Georgetown. Well, who was well, I think he was even charged for it. And he now is a candidate, he's just won and will be a councillor in the city council. So don't worry with APNU and all this crocodile tear. They don't care one bit about his child. They don't care whether it's true or not. They don't care a bit about this child. All their concern is about the politics of it, scoring political points. And they're harming an impartial investigation, a full-fledged investigation of the matter. But in the party that I am from, we don't take abuse of anybody lightly, especially children. That is our position now. And as we said before, the President reiterated, should the minister be found guilty, he faces the consequences. There's no cover-up here. All the processes have been followed, every single one of them. You have a lot of wild speculations out there, about, the minister, that people are compromising the child, intimidating the child, all kinds of speculation out there. I would say to the people of this country, you examine from the time the allegations have been made, the position given by the president, and the process outlined in the act has been followed with no exception, because he's a minister. Because he's a minister. I can almost put my head on the block that had this happen on the APNU, you wouldn't have had red thread protesting. You wouldn't have had anything else. And the minister wouldn't have even had to go to the police station. But we made sure that every element of the law was followed. Now, that is where it is at this point in time. But I think they're using this too as a distraction. As I said before, I don't think they have the child's interest at heart. I think they're using this as a distraction. They want to move away quickly from the local government results. And Norton is cleverly using this too, because he had faced a leadership challenge. Before the elections, they were gunning for him. And then after the elections, more so. So he's using this now to say he can mobilize to basically avoid the leadership challenge that will come, to reconsolidate his position as the head of the PNC.
Dr. Jagdeo, as a result of the deliberate attempts by the opposition to politicize what is just a sad situation, very
Yes.
unfortunate, and a victim who needs justice if that's what's needed. In the attempt to politicize it, do you see any negative effects on your government as a result of this?
People have to understand that our government, if you look at all that we've done, we work hard to ensure that our children get a better education, they get more resources from the state, they get a better schooling, they're better taken care of, that women have grown, just I pointed out, of the 14,000 or so people we had, nearly maybe 11,000 are women through the part-time program. We have, as we said before, we've strengthened the laws. That law was passed in 2010. modern legislation. So in the government and the party, we, women and children, are very important for our future. Can we say that we don't want to be premature by saying anyone is guilty, but can we answer for every single individual in the party or in the government? The party cannot basically give put our neck on the block for anyone. That is why a fair, independent investigation has been done now. Blossom Inc. got involved. I don't know how, because I saw their reports in the public domain that I thought was supposed to be private. I see social media commentators using their report and content of the report. I thought all of these things were private. The child care got involved in this case, and investigation has to be done, a proper investigation. We're not putting our neck on the block for anyone. We're not taking sides, but we don't want also a member of the party to be, or the government to be lynched by a mob of social media commentators who are often hostile to the PPP or the opposition, because the opposition has already for a long time had it gunning for Nigel Darmlal. You know that historically. So whilst we don't know what the investigations would show. We hope that that the allegations are not true. We hope so. But if they turn out to be true when the investigation is done, then he has to face the consequences. If we are as clear as that, he has to face the consequences. The party will not support. I'm very strong about this because we've seen attempts to lynch people before, and that's all I'm defending now. No, we're defending an impartial investigation, but no attempt to lynch anyone.
Dr. Jagdeo, the main fact that you're using the term lynching and you're saying there's need for an impartial investigation, there's obviously have been some lapses, and with the result that the opposition has been politicizing this. What will the government do to ensure that their ministers, if it is shown that this is, not trying to preempt what the investigation will say.
Yeah, because that's what we're speculating here.
Roger, what will
anything from now on would be speculation.
How does the government put in place steps to ensure that their ministers are accountable and there's no misuse of power? Because it's clear that errors have been made here. Judgment errors have been made. Loopholes have been opened.
I don't want to comment on the details because I'd be guilty of doing the same thing that some of the people who've been speculating on. I've seen the allegations. They're in the public domain. I've seen the reports that the Blossom Inc. was involved, an NGO, that the child care was involved, that the police got involved in the matter, that the minister was taken to the police station and he received bail, that the investigations are ongoing. That's what I know, just as like any citizen of the country. That is, I don't want to speculate because I don't want it to seem I'm in support of the minister here or the child. I'm in support of the truth. Whatever is the truth in this matter, that is what should come to light. And if the truth is that he did it, he must face the consequences. And if he did not, then he should not be lynched. I'm in favor of finding the truth in the matter. And I hope that the investigation would allow that to happen. You're already saying to me that, I don't know what you mean by like mistakes.
Well, let
Right,
me
so
clarify.
you're
Let me
yes,
clarify,
so you're
not
yeah.
to speculate. And I don't want to sound as representing the minister. But the minister found himself in a situation, allegations made against him, and then the opposition has jumped on a sort of a bandwagon and making it, politicizing it. Do you see the opposition looking for other opportunities just to make allegations? How do you address that?
They're very clever at that. So apart from this issue aside, you're gonna see the lies I told you about Christopher Jones, outrageous. The lies about taking people's properties and local government election. You're gonna see a series of other issues in the things that are inconsequential. What they're doing, they're getting into a nasty game. And about, I think it's getting into people's private lives and stuff like that. What people do in their private lives, consensually, that's not my business. If it's non-consensual and it's an abuse, then I have a business in that issue as General Secretary of the party. We're intolerant of that. So sexually and everything else, that's their business, provided it's consensual. That is our position as a party. We don't peep into people's bedrooms every day, but we make sure but if anything comes to light where there is an abuse of position or power to steer people in that particular direction or abuse women and children, then we are intolerant to that. Intolerant to it. So there will not be continence in our midst at all. And that is our position now. They will come up with all sorts of things. I see the nastiness goes back in social media. I saw my Paul made the media, then they come back, somebody sent something else today. That's their business as far as I'm concerned. I don't pay too much attention to things that are done consensually between adults.
I think we have
even if I find it reprehensible. But that's not, we're not in a dictatorship or a society that peeps into everybody's private lives. We believe in freedom and privacy and all of that. But not when it concerns minors or women.
In light of the fact that there's an ongoing investigation, I think we've covered and you've brought...
Yes, I'm very careful. I'm trying to measure my words because whatever we say here could be misinterpreted as though we're trying to...
Might obviously be misinterpreted
go
tomorrow
one
morning
way.
in
And yes, Kaichur News, well, Kaichur News misinterprets everything.
Most likely tomorrow
Right,
morning.
but where we are on these matters. So that's why I'm very cautious about it. I don't want to sound like we're in favor of one party versus another. I'm in favor of finding the truth of the matter.
So I want to close on that. Now, there are a number of issues that have been, you've been putting out there. Where are we with the Marriott? There was a large bidder. Where are we with the gas to shore?
Okay.
Can Guyanese have an understanding of what's going on?
So we've had to refocus now a lot because some of our time was spent on the campaign. So again, I want to assure the people that all the campaign promises made by the PPP, we stand behind them. Whether it is we did it in Port Morant or Anna Regina, or in Region 1, in Mabaruma, or in any part, in my village, or Buxton, or Georgetown, and New Amsterdam, those promises that we made to people that were on the flyers, that those will be kept. We're back now in office to work at delivering on those promises. We're not, it's not going to be an easy thing. Even in South Georgetown, In many parts of the city, the garbage has started piling up again. I don't know what the council that will be there, whether they will make the people's priorities their priorities, but rest assured, whether we want an area or not, you're going to see our councillors and others working in these communities. Yesterday I had a meeting with a lot of the councillors in some of the big areas, and I said to them, we have to be on the ground. People must see you there, see that you're pushing for their concerns, regardless of whether we control the area or not. So we are now busy doing that sort of thing. Coming back to I met with the public works people, Minister Indar and Edgehill and their staff about the road programs in these areas. We're looking at drainage in many parts of the country. So clearly, we now have to focus on delivery. I hear a lot of speculation about 2026. But what is APNU going to offer in 2026? What is APNU, 2025 rather, the national elections? They right now, how are they going to win in 2025? You just had a trouncing, even in your strongholds. How are they going to win? And if they think we're going to sit down and bask in the success we've recently had at the local government elections and hope that will carry us forward in the future, we're back at work today again, working even harder to grow that support, and so that it becomes even more overwhelming in the future. So all of this running around and motorcade and shenanigans and rumors that they spread, people will see through that. People will see through them as distractions. And then they're going to be judged harshly by their own people in their own strongholds, because the moment someone find you lying, they never believe you again. And I can say to them, Christopher Jones is a liar, one of the biggest liars I've seen. People like Norton and Maipal and all of the others, I've never seen people tell so many outrageous lies to their own supporters. I don't know if they can go to bed and sleep at night. I don't imagine these people, the lies they tell.
Dr. Jagdeo, on that specific point, you've had a number of people, you have been able to, however you've done it, get a number of people to cross over from APNU and councillors and so on, to the likes of Patricia Chase Green, Malcolm Ferreira, the madam who's been attacked in Berbice.
Yeah, Barbara Pilgrim.
Miss Pilgrim and so on. A lot of them had not gone on to bring winnings for the PPP. What is the PPP relationship like?
No, that's mischaracterizing. Patricia Chase Green, Barbara Pilgrim, Malcolm, Tricia, Sean in Berbice, the former MP in Linden, AFC MP, all of them, they're part of the family now, the PPP family. Our people, our base wants this family to grow. It's very strong in the Amerindian areas, it's growing. We want more votes in the Amerindian areas, in the limited areas that were contested. In the Indo-Guyanese areas, it's strong, it's growing in Afro-Guyanese areas. We have a lot of Portuguese, mixed people, etc. Our party looks like that. Our base wants that to happen. And these people are part. They brought a lot to us too. Not just, you can't say they didn't bring a win. The fact that we increase our votes in all of these areas meant that they worked very hard with our other team, and they had good material to work with. They had a party with a track record of keeping its promises. So they worked very hard. I don't judge people because they didn't win. You fall into the same kind of approach like Stabrook and the others. God Mosley, you're like God Mosley. Oh, they didn't win Georgetown, so these people suddenly they were useless. They were not useless. They're
well,
great.
my interest is
they're
what
great
is your
people.
support going to be like in the future?
Great people. You imagine? Do you know what we have changed history basically in the city. And we're going back to the 50s. Look at the face of this party. Look at Freedom House. When you go to Freedom House, you see people of every race walking up there. You ever took a walk by Congress Place? Apart from the fact nobody goes in there, even the General Secretary was locked out of that place. Have you ever been to Congress Place and see a trickle of people? It's not multi-ethnic. The place looks like a dead duck. You go to Freedom House, it's a vibrant place. It's buzzing. People come up there. They come there because they think they can get help. They know we listen to them. That is what it's about. And a lot of these people who cross the floor, they campaign hard. They're part of the family. I didn't. You sat at the press conference many times when I was pushed to say, what's your prediction in Georgetown and Linden? And I said, I don't make predictions. It's up to the voters. We're fighting a strong campaign in these areas. We always hope to win anywhere you campaign. And we came close to in many areas. We came close to winning in a stronghold. It's like coming in your home, which is 100% APNU or like critic, and taking away, like in New Amsterdam, and convincing half of your family, well, that in this case, we are looking out for their interests more than you as a father in your household has looked out for them for the past 50, 60 years. Almost all their lives. There you have some 50-year-old children and you never took care of them. They're only important to you when you got to vote. And you never took care of them. And they make their choices. They see somebody who they've heard all these lies about them all their life, they're racist, etc. And they come and they see that they can work with this party. The party has energy, the party is broad-based, and they feel happy being there, and they're treated with respect. They support you because of the track record too, not because we're special people or because Indo-Guyanese are superior or anything like that, because we keep faith with people. And that is what's happening, and that's the assessment that people are making in their homes. It is all about, selfishly, the PNC has done this every time. Every time they're in office, they don't look out for people. Now you hear all the promises about what they will do again. But we heard that from no less than Granger, Ramjatan, Trotman, the heads of army. They sounded more credible in 2015, more believable, and yet they did zero. You think an Amanza Walton, who was looking out for her own interests, she and her family got 3 plots of land. The Figueroas, the others who were taking land for them, you think they got any intention of helping you anywhere? Sharma Solomon, ask him now that some people voted for them in Linden, whether anything in the town council, if they're going to get a job or a contract or anything else. If there's anything that benefits there, it will go directly to them, not to ordinary people.
Can we touch a little bit on the Marriott and the oil and gas?
Oh yes, the Marriott. As I said, we're getting back to the details now. So, I guess the head of the NISIL, he's out, I'm told. So we are waiting for the assessment to be done, completed of the 2 bids, because you have to look at the details of the bid now. And then I guess once those are done, then you start the negotiations.
Oil and gas.
And oil and gas. I give an update tomorrow. Yes, a press conference. We've had some setback on the sand because they need a lot of sand and stuff like that. We just came out of a meeting dealing with that. I just came from a meeting with everyone around the table, including the president, about making sure that the project remains on track. So there are lots of things. But thank you very much for this afternoon. I have to rush go off now, but we need to make sure that people have all the information. I just wish that this country and more people made decisions based on information. And I don't know how we're going to get it over to people that these lies, that they just harm you. Because if you believe that, you'd believe anything. It is a strange thing for me. So maybe we'll think a bit more about that and come back to it. I hope that the people in social media, those who are looking at us, they help. This is a national task to expose the lies. To expose the lies.
Dr. Jagdeo, I want to thank you for this opportunity, always affording us the opportunity, and my viewers, and by extension Guyanese, an insight and in-depth into the government's operations, a level of transparency that was never afforded to Guyanese before in this country. Never. It's unprecedented. So I want to thank you for that opportunity.
Sure.
And I want to thank the viewers.